Welcome and welcome back to my channel, Proofrock's Life and Library. In this video, we are going to compare between books and films. So let's get started. Along with being a voracious reader, I've also always been inclined towards cinema. Now, by cinema, I mean wall cinema or independent cinema and all of that. Films from all over the world has mesmerized me. I have felt a connection to them in spite of the language barrier. A film from my own country, perhaps an Assamese film or a Malayalam film, has connected with me the same way an Iranian film has or a Russian film has. I believe that it's the storytelling, it's the nuances of creativity, the cinematography, the direction that connects with you. So it's for me the primary factor is the storytelling, and it can be a clear narrative or an absurd narrative or whatever it may be. So that is how I connect with films. Now, when I was a student, I used to watch and delve into a lot of wall cinema. But recently, I have not been getting the time to watch an entire film. And by watching an entire film, I mean to say is that watching the film in a day and living within the world the director has created. And just appreciating the film, the world, the universe that has been created for a while, and then critically delving into the cinema itself, the making of it. But recently, I have got a Mubi subscription. Now, Mubi, if you are aware, you know that it's a blessing to the film watchers who appreciate world cinema and cinema collected from all over the world. And if you are not aware, it is a platform where every independent film or every cinema from all over the world has been handpicked and curated, and you get in Mubi. So after getting the subscription, I have watched quite a few films. And in this video, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to compare those few films with some of the books that I have recently read. Now, I would like to say at first that these books are not the adaptation. These films are not the adaptations of the books. There's just no connection that has been stated or I have heard of. Now, what I'm trying to do here is just build a loose connection between the two. I may have found a connection in the narrative or in the tonality of the book and the film, or the setting of how it has been formed. So that is what this video is going to be, and it is nowhere said or mentioned that these books and this film is having a connection. So let's get started with that. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. So the aspect that I'm picking up from this book is of unreliable narration. Now, the character of this book, Holden, he is not in a mental condition to speak the truth. He is speaking from his personal perspective, which is his traumatized self. So the truth that he is depicting is not necessarily the truth itself. So this book, and the film that I'm comparing with this book is Certified Copy by Abbas Kiarostami. He's an Iranian filmmaker, and Certified Copy is one of his recent films. So now, why I'm taking that film is because the narration of that film in the later half of the film becomes unreliable. Now, there is an art collector. She collects sculptures and art pieces, and she meets a writer. Now, both of them have a conversation. They walk around the city, and there's a constantly changing narrative between them. once they are talking as if they are husband and wife, while slowly, and you won't remember the line that has been drawn between these shifts. While they're talking as strangers, they're talking as husband and wife, they're talking about a son, which is the lady's son, but the writer has no idea about the son and still talks in a way that he is the father of the son. So there is a lot of unreliable narration. The viewer might be confused if they are strangers and they are acting in a way that they are husband and wife, or perhaps they are husband and wife and behaving like a stranger. So that's the story. So Catcher in the Rye and Certified Copy, I believe, has a connection because of their unreliable narration. The next book I'm talking about is Reading Lolita in Tehran. It's by Azhar Nafisi. Now, Azhar Nafisi is an author and a professor who is from Iran. And in this book, she talks about how she is teaching and how the students are perceiving these classic texts like that of Nabokov or James Joyce in Tehran, sitting in Tehran. Now, Iran as a nation has not been very liberal towards Western influence in the recent times. And this book expresses the struggles of reading a text in spite of considering how this is a Western influence, or who has written this text and from where this text has come. The main focus of the students and the professor herself is to delve into the psyche of the text, to inculcate more psychological behaviors and the point of view or the scenario of the writer or the story itself. So that is what this book is about. But the problem is that they are not vocal about it. The situation they are reading the text in is not allowing them to be vocal about it. So there's a lot of hiding. They have to cover themselves up because they are going to teach, because the professor is going to teach and the students are going to learn about a simple book, a simple text called Lolita. Now, let's not get into how simple Lolita is, but what I'm trying to say is, now if me sitting here wants to read Lolita, it's a simple task, or a professor wants to teach me Lolita, it's a simple task. But that simple task for them sitting in Tehran is not so simple. So that is what this book is about. These are real life experiences. And now the film that I'm going to connect to this book is Arab Blues, and it's directed by Manele Labidi, if I'm not wrong. Now this film is in French, based in France, and this film talks about a psychoanalyst who has studied in Paris and was practicing in Paris, but because of the extensive competition she has been facing in psychoanalysis, which makes her return to her home country, that is Tunisia. Now, after returning to Tunisia, she is awestruck by the response she is getting when she has started her psychoanalyzing sessions. Now, people there are unaware of the process that she is going to follow. They are unaware of who Freud is. For example, she hangs a photograph of Sigmund Freud behind her seat, and they take her as her uncle or maybe a distant relative. And there are a lot of presumptions. She faces a lot of struggles. She's not getting a certificate, a license to practice it. And there are weird notions of people. For example, there was a person who thinks that a woman sitting in a closed room and talking to someone makes her a prostitute. So there has been a lot of misjudgments about her profession, and also when people started coming in, they did not believe in the fact that this could help them, this could heal them, or this is a scientific process. So that Arab blues and reading Lolita in Tehran has the same aspect to me, because of the difficulties that these two women has been facing in establishing a simple task which is otherwise simple in most parts of the world. The third book that I'm going to talk about is 1Q84 or 1984 by Haruki Murakami. So in my previous video, you might have seen me talking about all of Murakami's books. I've talked about each and every book almost that I have, and I have mentioned this book as well. So this is a trilogy, and it has been compartmentalized into 3 parts. But the plot of this book, the aspect of this book that I'm taking from here is the travel between 2 worlds. Now, by 2 worlds, I mean there's a constant travel between conscious reality and unconscious reality in this book. Like there are 2 moons, for example. So there's an imitation of the other one world, and that sort of thing. Like two spatial zones has been created in this book. And the film that I'm going to compare with this is 2046 by Wong Kar-wai. Now, if you are aware of Wong Kar-wai's films, the narrative of his films are very simple and yet very complex. Now, generally what I've seen in Wong Kar-wai's films is that there's a lot of emotional travel. By emotional travel, I mean to say is that transitions from one emotion to other, or maybe 2 people feeling the same emotion and acting on it a different way. So that kind of travel, that an emotional travel. In 2046, which is also an emotional travel, a nostalgic travel, but there is an element of futurism in it. For example, he talks about a train. He has shown a train that travels to the future where the memories get fixed and one cannot forget them. But instead of traveling to the future, the characters are traveling to the past. So there's a time travel, and by time travel, there's also an emotional travel between the memories, the fixation of memories, the forgetfulness, and all of that. So there are 2 zones. Or you can say there are 2 zones basically, the past and the future. Now both of them are relative to each other, and which is why I have found the close connection between them, because there's a lot of travel, emotional travel, time travel, nostalgic travel in between memories, and a lot of travel. The last book that I'm going to talk about is The Sixth River. It's by Fikar Tosvi, and now I haven't read the entire book and I'm halfway through it. Now why I've picked this book is because of the main plot or the theme of this book. Now this book talks about partition of India 1947 and the exodus that was happening at that time. People coming to India from Pakistan, and people leaving India to Pakistan. So this book is the journey of the refugees. You can see from the photograph itself, the coming to the land that has been suddenly declared for them based on their religion. So this book talks about the incident of partition and the tale that has been unfolded after partition. Now, partition as an incident happened in a day, but the stories have continued to live till now. So this book talks about the journey. This is a real life journal. So it delves into the real life stories that how people have been living after the once the partition have happened, life in the refugee camps and the entire struggle that has been faced. Now, the film that I've chosen to compare with this is Subarna Rekha. The film was released in 1962 and it's by Hrithik Ghatak. Now, this film is a pretty large one and it's divided into time frames. Now, what I've picked from this film to associate with this book is only the initial part of the film. At the beginning of the film, you see a man and his younger sister. They are refugees. They are staying in a refugee camp as they have migrated from East Pakistan in West Bengal, which was then West Bengal, the undivided one. And they are staying in a refugee camp where they are introduced to another character who is the son of a low caste woman, a widow, and all of them start their journeys from the camp. How they leave the camp and start their new journey, searching for a new home, and where their home takes them, where their life takes them. It's an entire story after that. But the aspect that I'm relating to here is that partition itself is an event that has been mentioned in history as a date. For example, we celebrate 15th August as our Independence Day. 15th August 1947 was an event, a day, a particular day. But people who have been a part of this huge exodus has been facing it for long. They have been living with all of the lived experiences of the trauma and the memories of their land, their home, and everything. So that is the aspect that I've picked up from here, that in spite of being partition an event, we have to treat each life as a story in itself. So these are the few books that I have found a loose connection with some of the recently watched films. Now, if you're watching this, you might agree to it or disagree to it, or maybe you have read all of these books and you can find a better connection with any of other films. And if you have so, please comment and let me know, because I would also like to improvise and make this, maybe talk about these books again in details. Until then, if you have enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comment section if you want to see these kind of videos further as well. Till then, bye and thank you.